Hey YouTube, it's Hex again. If you hear music in the background, it's because I'm actually in the process of cleaning my room and just reorganizing and doing laundry and whatnot. But I wanted to take the time to film a couple of videos. Recently I put up a video on my top 6 essential oils, and I talked about how lemon was one of my favorites, and I put it in water. And it raised some questions by people who have apparently had conversations with certified aromatherapists. Um, Now, some people might not like this video, some people might find it informative. It's just something that I feel like I need to talk about. Um, I'm not in any way considered a certified aromatherapist or, um, I don't have a master's in herbalism. I'm not a certified holistic practitioner. I'm not a holistic doctor. So anything I talk about with essential oils is strictly my observation, my personal way of using things, what works for me. It may not work for you, and I don't recommend that you try it yourself. Um, because essential oils are not the same for every brand. Something that was said was that I should look into, and it's not now, before I say what I'm going to say, this is not directed at one person. It was actually a couple people who messaged me in a private message, and then a couple comments that were left. And I just want to address that because um, I know what they're saying, and I need to make it very clear to you guys um, how educated I am on essential oils. Um, so let me start with as you guys can see there, right here, are just a little bit of my essential oils. Um, Now I want to talk to you guys first off about my background with essential oils and my education and education plans for essential oils. Um, I have been using essential oils going on about 10 years. Um, I've used a few different brands. I've been educated. Um, I've studied herbalism myself. I've never gone to an actually accredited school for it, but I've just done my own research and learned what I needed to learn about them. So I have a really strong background in knowing the chemistry of essential oils, how they work, what they're good for, how they should and shouldn't be used. Um, this book you guys see here, if you guys are looking to get into essential oils, this is definitely a necessary book to have. It's called Modern Essentials, A Contemporary Guide to the Therapeutic Use of Essential Oils. This is the 6th edition that I have. They just released the 7th edition, which is a little updated. Now, as you guys know, I work with doTERRA, and I use doTERRA essential oils. Of the years that I've been using essential oils, doTERRA has just become my brand of choice. There are other brands out there that people do use and that they prefer to use, and that's fine. Personally, for me, um, I've seen doTERRA's facilities. I know how they source. I know 100% that their essential oils are 100% pure, certified therapeutic grade. And what that means is doTERRA has taken the essential oils from their natural habitat at a time when they're the most potent, using certain kinds of sourcing that make it renewable. So it's giving jobs to those areas that they're sourcing from, as well as being able to source the correct chemical compounds in the right type of essential oil. doTERRA does not cut their essential oils with anything. So, for instance, and what I mean by that, as you can see here, I have a bottle of Melaleuca. If you guys don't know what Melaleuca is, it's tea tree oil. Um, and I have a bottle of the Now brand, 100% tea tree oil. Now, as you guys see, let me see if I can get it to focus. Focus. I don't think it's going to focus, you guys, but you guys can probably kind of see that. It says 100% pure tea tree oil. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. The FDA doesn't regulate essential oils in their making of them. So any brand can make what's considered an essential oil and put it in a bottle, claim it's 100% pure, and sell it as that. A lot of people have seen where reactions have come through of essential oils not being diluted and so on and so forth, and there being problems with that. If your essential oil is not cut with anything and it's 100% pure, for instance, bergamot per se, it's not going to burn you. It's not going to be a hot oil because you can touch the rind of a bergamot fruit and not have that problem. That's where the oils come from. So, if I were to smell my doTERRA Melaleuca, it smells like tea tree oil. It has a very pungent, earthy, balsamic type of smell. But now when I smell my now essential oil, it has that same scent, but a stronger quality to it in the terms of the balsamic quality. It's a little more acidic smelling and it's a little dirtier smelling. It actually smells like there's dirt in the bottle with the oil. Now, that's not always a telltale sign, but for me, I know that that's not 100% pure tea tree oil. I can tell by the consistency. It's a little watered down looking, where my doTERRA tea tree oil is a little thicker. There's so many different ways to be able to tell the difference of essential oils. So you need to do your research on your brands that you're purchasing from. Learn where they're sourcing their material from. Learn how their processing at their plants go. Learn how they're deriving their essential oils and how they're distilling them. You know, that all comes into play when you're talking about essential oils. doTERRA, as far as I know, is the only brand that has the claim to utilize essential oils as a dietary supplement only for some oils. Not every one of these oils can be taken internally, only some of them. Now, with that being said, my bergamot oil per se. You guys see, here's a suggested supplement fact. When you're looking at your doTERRA bottles, that's how you'll know those can be taken internally per the dosage. Now, it tells you all of that information on your bottle. A dose of essential oils, whether applied topically or internally or aromatically, is 1 to 3 drops. 1 drop of peppermint essential oil is the equivalent to 28 drops of peppermint tea. That's how potent essential oils are. So it's super important that that's taken into consideration. Now, with that being said, a lot of people love grapefruit essential oil in their water if they use doTERRA. I personally drink it myself. My mother, however, cannot use it. Why? Because we know that she takes, psychoactive medications for bipolar disorder and anxiety, and grapefruit actually counteracts with the drugs that are in her system and can cause adverse reactions. It tells you on her prescription bottle to avoid grapefruit, grapefruit juice, grapefruit peel, grapefruit oil, and grapefruit flavored products, just in case. So, that's something that you have to know when you decide to use any plant material. It doesn't matter if it's an essential oil or if you're using an herb or drinking a tea. It doesn't make a difference. It's the same concept. So, my personal background in essential oils, I started using them for mood enhancement and anxiety. That was where I started. But then as I grew and I learned and I studied and I practiced and was using essential oils in my daily life, I learned the do's and don'ts. This book, let me open it for you guys because I'm starting to ramble and I'm like losing my train of thought because there's just so much I want to talk about with you guys when it comes to essential oils. Um, for instance, let's talk about grapefruit. Here we go. When you get this book, you'll see it talks about grapefruit. It gives you all the chemical constituents in terms of their chemistry. It talks about the properties, the French medicinal uses, other possible uses, the body systems that are affected, the aromatic influences on your mood. Oral use as a dietary supplement if they can be. Now, this is something you guys have to be aware of. The FDA does not regulate with essential oils at all. Now, doTERRA has chosen to be one of the only couple brands out there to work with the FDA and be compliant with FDA regulation. So, this being said, doTERRA grapefruit essential oil is generally recognized as safe, or GRAS, for those of you that know the shorthand, for human consumption by the FDA. Um, it tells you the dilution, it tells you the blend classification, it tells you what it blends with. It gives you additional research if you want to research all of the studies that have been done on using it for cancer, sympathetic nervous system, diabetes, addiction, tics, obesity. I mean, the list goes on and on. Essential oils do have their application, and I don't think that you need to be a certified, in air quotes again, and I keep doing that, and I'm going to tell you why, aromatherapist in order to be able to use that in your everyday life. That's not realistic, to be honest. Now, my question to people who are certified aromatherapists: who certifies you? Are you certified by an association who works with the FDA and who works with hospitals and who works with these companies? Or are you certified through some online school that you went to? That's the question that I have for you. You can go online and pay $1,000 to take an online course, and the school will give you a certificate of completion and call you a certified aromatherapist. But have you gone legally and gotten certified as an aromatherapist before you decided to tell someone that you can or can't use essential oils in a certain way because you read it in a book? That's not the case. I myself, in probably towards the end of this year, beginning of next year, will be completing my aromatherapy course. I'm actually going to be going to a school to become a certified aromatherapist, and when I say certified, that's certified internationally. So I'll be certified by multiple organizations in the US as well as Europe as a practitioner and therapist in aromatherapy. And then I'll also be going in with herbalism as well, doing basic to advanced herbalism, and then taking that into my master's degree. Um, and possibly even doing chemistry with that as well. So, yes, I'm educated enough to know what I'm talking about. I don't recommend that if you guys are not specifically using doTERRA, which is what, when I talk about essential oils, I will be talking about doTERRA brand specifically. So please keep that in mind when you watch my videos. That if you guys are using now essential oils, please do not use these internally, ever. You don't know what's in them. You don't know if there's a toxic synthetic fragrance oil cut into them. You don't know if it is actually tea tree oil or not, something that smells very similar, and that could be a toxic oil. You just don't know. There's no way for you to know unless you were to chemically test the oil, whereas doTERRA has all of that information readily available to the public. So if I'm talking about myself using something internally, you can do that. What I will probably do is I will go over medicinal uses when I talk about certain essential oils, but I probably won't discuss whether or not they'll be taken internally or not, just to avoid any problems. Um, but just keep that in mind. Just stick to using essential oils topically and aromatically, meaning in the air and the smell of them. Um, I mean, I'm kind of like getting sidetracked now because there's just so much information that I can give you guys about it, and I'm there's so many points I wanted to touch on, and I didn't make a list like I wanted to. I just kind of jumped into the video. Um, with that being said, just because someone's not a certified aromatherapist doesn't mean that they're not educated. Um, you need to do research for yourself. You need to know what you feel comfortable doing. You need to know how you would use these yourself, use essential oils yourself. It's common sense. You may not use things the way other people do, and they might. Each one of these essential oils has so many overlapping uses. Lavender and rosemary both have very soothing properties. Most people would use lavender to soothe something because it's a stronger version, but rosemary can also do the same thing. I think you just have to do your research. If you guys want to get started on that, I highly suggest you guys pick up this book. Give it a good read. It's incredible. It's my Bible. It's my go-to book if I have questions or can't remember off the top of my head, or I'm wondering, or I'm doing further study. I immediately pull this off of my shelf and I take a look at it. Something you guys need to know as well, doTERRA is not who educated me on essential oils. That was something that was asked and was said that I should probably look outside of the brand doTERRA and become more well-rounded. and I have for about 8 years. I used other brands of essential oils and other ways of training myself aside from what doTERRA gives. And then when I found doTERRA through a friend of mine, actually a coworker who utilized these essential oils for the last 10 years, um, I was hooked. I felt the quality of the oil. I actually felt them work. I was impressed. And it's very hard to impress me with something like this, doing it as long as I've done it. But I was sold. So, I do your research. Um, I am no way a doctor. If you're concerned with using essential oils in a certain way, talk to your healthcare, your healthcare provider, your physician, before you start using them. Make sure that you know that whatever essential oils you are using topically, aromatically, or internally, if you choose to do so, which I don't advise without having the knowledge that I have, or that an aromatherapist or an herbal doctor would give you. Um, should you choose to do so, make sure that you know that's not going to interact with the medication you may be taking. There's so many ins and outs of essential oils. Don't be intimidated by it. It's just a matter of knowing. Once you know, you'll know. Um, yeah, so if you guys have, further questions about essential oils, I'll probably be doing essential oil videos more often because I think it's something that needs to be educated more about. I think the education is getting lost in transition, people talking about essential oils. Um, yeah. If you guys have any other questions about essential oils, like I was saying, definitely drop me a line. I can try to answer as many as I can. Um, if you guys are interested in doTERRA as a brand, also send me a message. I'll send you a link, and that can give you more information, and I'll talk with you guys and see, what you guys think. Um, Something to keep in mind: the essential oils are not how I make most of my money. I do make a little bit of money doing essential oil education, but my main income is being a makeup artist. It has nothing to do with this. So I'm not coming at this from a place of wanting to make money. I'm coming at it from a place of passion, and I love essential oils, and I think that it's empowering to be able to do, to take charge of your healthcare, um, and work with your doctors and your medications just to overall empower your life. So, with that being said, I'm going to stop freaking rambling because I totally got on a tangent about this. If you guys have questions, drop me a line. Look out for more videos. I'll probably have a couple more up today. And I'll probably have a couple more up on essential oils coming within the next week or so, I would say. So until next time, I will talk to everybody soon. Blessed be.